Great words there from Lucky Dube and Baban. I hope you enjoyed that number. Different colors just for you on Gold FM. Only the classic hits. Louise with you on the Center Show. Well, thank you so much for the sweet company. This is Alana Miles, one of my favorites, and Black Velvet for you. Hi there. Join me on the Center Show every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the best sounds on Gold FM. Only the classic hits.
In this bulletin, Elections Office hands over final report to President. Fiji and New Zealand military re-establish ties after 8 years. And dairy farmers hold AGM after 4 years. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The Fijian Elections Office has handed over the final report on the election to the President as required under the 2013 Constitution. This is a joint report from the Electoral Commission and the Supervisor of Elections. Ritika Pratap reports.
The first report, comprising more on the operational side of election, was handed to the President in October. Today, a final report was given to Ratu Ipeali Nailatikau.
It was a joint report today, yes. The Electoral Commission and the Supervisor of Elections, and it was about the actual operating of the 2014 elections.
The President commended the Supervisor and Electoral Commissioners for their tremendous work.
I knew when you were chosen that you were going to perform, and I was never in doubt. And although we had some trying times during the election, when criticism was being thrown back and forth, you remained steady, and we received your preliminary report, and now we get the report, the final report.
A copy of the report was also handed to the Secretary General to Parliament, Vinyana Namosi Maluwa. The report will be tabled and debated in Parliament.
Parliament will read it, and when they next sit, probably sometime it will go on the agenda. Similarly, the Electoral Commission's own report, that's why we want to get it done by January, February, so that it can be available at the same time to the Parliament, and they can go through and raise the questions they want, and we'll have some recommendations there, but it's not something we it's for them to look at it first, rather than be talking in detail about that sort of thing.
The Electoral Commissioners are compiling a comprehensive annual report on what they have done throughout the year and what changes need to be made to the electoral process. The report will be given to the President next month. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Meanwhile, the report was also presented to the Attorney General Ayaz Said Qayyum late this afternoon. The Elections Office had 3 months to prepare the final report and present it as per the electoral decree. Today was the due date to present the report. Said Qayyum says the report will be tabled in the next session of Parliament. The Fiji Cooperative Dairy Limited held its annual general meeting today after a lapse of 4 years. It was also the first meeting with shareholders since the company's restructure in 2012. Maggie Boyle was in Nausori and filed this report.
These dairy farmers were quick to air their grievances, from the need for more government assistance to reducing operational costs.
These should have been addressed on this document here and submitted to the company secretary to be brought up at the meeting, not on a ad hoc basis.
What do you want? I'm asking Mr. Chairman, if the company's lawyer can clarify this matter, and we can confirm the auditors today in this AGM before they deliberate.
Currently say the price of milk that we are receiving from FDL is below the cost of production.
Initially, FBC were removed by security after being told it was a private company meeting. But after a shareholder intervened on our behalf, we were allowed back in. Outgoing Chairman Josefa Serlangilangi says the sustainability of the dairy industry lies in securing an agreement between suppliers and the processing plant, the Fiji Dairy Limited.
We have been discussing this, and it's over 2 to 3 years now. for us to have a milk supply agreement. That is still not being sorted out, and we are fortunate that New Zealand is coming into our help, and they are providing staff to do this work for us. And
do you expect that will be fine?
very shortly we should be getting the result.
For some of these dairy farmers, more government assistance is needed, from subsidies to better disease control.
We should now try and subsidize per litre of milk that is produced at farm gate by 17 cents, so that we can upgrade our farms and move on, so that our cost of investment in farm, we are able to make some profit.
It seems to me that there's a new improved testing procedure, because we haven't really received answers on why there's been a sudden surge in the TB reactors in the herd. It's either the old procedure wasn't carried out properly, and they've improved it on the new procedure, but there's still a lot of answers that the dairy farmers or the dairy industry are waiting from government.
And while the industry is still recovering from the brucellosis crisis, the TB outbreak has further hampered recovery.
We're losing, we were at about reaching 12 million litres, now we are 9.5, so you can imagine.
For these 189 shareholders, today's meeting gave them an insight into the newly restructured cooperative. And while there were many questions, there was also some relief that audited accounts for 2012-2013 were presented. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The New Zealand Defence Force shares a long history with the Republic of Fiji military forces. The first commanders of the RFMF were from the New Zealand Defence Force. However, in 2006, they pulled out their support for the RFMF. As Akosita Tale reports, they're back in the country to renew ties with Fiji's military forces.
This marks a new beginning for the Republic of Fiji's military forces and the New Zealand Defence Force. After 8 years, New Zealand has returned to renew its ties with the RFMF. New Zealand Defence Minister Jerry Brownlee met and held talks with RFMF Commander Brigadier General Mosese Tukitonga in Suva this morning. This has been a long time coming and is being welcomed by Fiji.
Those last 8 years haven't been easy, especially for the RFMF. It's well documented that the New Zealand political masters at that time went out of their way even to stop the RFMF's participation in UN peacekeeping missions. That was how deteriorated our relations were at the time. But we welcome the New Zealand Defence Minister and the New Zealand Defence Force.
RFMF spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Sitiven Ngiliho says while they will continue to work with new friends they've established, they will also focus on re-establishing close defence relations that had been severed.
We'll have to get to the details of that when we do meet for the details of what is on offer and what the RFMF needs are. That will be discussed at a later stage. Today was initial talks and we are happy with the way things have gone.
Fiji also has recently strengthened relations with the United Arab Emirates, the USA and Australia. This will benefit the country to counter threats to internal security.
Recent happenings that happened in Australia in the last few days shows how the changing dynamics of the security situation that has come very close to us. So in terms of that, for the overall security, it is important for the RFMF to engage with partners that have come on.
Ngiliho adds New Zealand is a strong security partner in the region, especially in looking after our vast sea resources. New relations mean these countries have much to offer Fiji, and Fiji has a lot to choose from for professional enhancements of the RFMF. Akosita Tale, FBC News.
Expect pork shortage this Christmas. That's coming up.
It's now 6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast, Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to the Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning.
From 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. Today, our young parliamentarians were briefed about parliamentary procedures by the Secretary-General to Parliament, Viniana Namosi-Ma'alua. They also had a session with lawyers from the Attorney-General's office. Rashika Kumar has the details.
The youth parliamentarians were taken through a session on parliamentary procedures ahead of their forum tomorrow. Their participants also took part in a mock parliament session today.
There are maiden speeches to be given, and these maiden speeches will basically be about problems and critical areas that the youths have brought from wherever they have come from the islands, even from the cities. And I'm sure, as politicians, they will listen to these and work towards solutions for these problems, towards solving this problem.
The coordinator's Aspire Network's Executive Director, Kajal Kumar, says these young people may have a thing or two to teach parliamentarians.
Most fundamental important thing is that they need to learn from young people about what is called peace building. The respect for difference of point of views, the respect and the willingness to resolve conflict in our country, but at the same time, do not make it personalized.
A 2014 general elections candidate and a practicing lawyer, Anishini Chand wants to understand the proceedings better.
And the youths did not really get to see what actually happens or what transpires in Parliament, and that's what exactly I hope to take back from this forum.
Law student Matila Bulamai Bau believes that this is the perfect opportunity for young people to voice their concerns.
Especially since we don't have, our voice is not usually heard, so this will help them understand us better and understand what we want.
Government officials and youth parliamentarians took part in a dialogue as part of further preparations for tomorrow's forum. Rashika Kumar, FBC News.
An early morning blaze has destroyed a flat in Nambour Suva. The occupants who were asleep inside the home escaped without injury. National Fire Authority CEO John O'Connor says they received a call from Nambour village a little after midnight. A second property adjacent to the home was slightly damaged from the fire. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of it. As we prepare for Christmas celebrations, the National Fire Authority is urging parents and guardians to keep children away from ignition sources and keep fire safety in mind when leaving home. As of November this year, the NFA has recorded a total of 137 structural fires, while in the same period last year, 120 were recorded. One of the largest meat suppliers in the country has confirmed there is a shortage of pork, in particular bacon, this Christmas season. Ellen Stolz has the story.
Wally's Butchery Limited operation manager, Gregory Hamnam, says he had to turn customers away.
Currently, there's a bit of a shortage in the market because this is more the festive season of the year. There's a lot of functions going on, and the hotels are quite busy at the moment, so the demand is quite great at this time of the year.
Leyland's Butchery General Manager Chris Yee says he had to bring in pork from overseas.
To meet up the demand for this Christmas, what we have done is that we have imported some overseas pork just to make sure that everybody's got pork on the menu itself for this festive season.
Both companies are supplying pork to hotels, and the shortage has made it difficult for them to meet the demand.
Previously, we were able to import pork from Australia, but at the moment the duty has gone up. It's quite costly to bring it in, but due to respect of the government that's trying to protect our local industry, but I think we should be able to ask them to see if there's a shortfall in allowing us to be able to import just for the short period of time.
However, there's always the old standby chicken. It's not exactly Christmas turkey, but Crest Chicken says they're well stocked for the festive season. Helen Stolz, FBC News.
The Ministry for Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation held a special Christmas treat for unfortunate children and the elderly in Lautoka today. Children from 3 orphanages, the Disabled Persons Association and elderly citizens were among the guests of the ministry. Christopher Chand has more.
Many of these kids have been abandoned by their parents. They are in the care of children's centres like the Treasure Home in St. Mina's in Nandi and the Veilomani Boys Home in Ba.
I wish I could look like Santa and bring much joy and happiness in your lives, but we are here to do whatever is in our midst to ensure that this year's Christmas is a brighter one. For you, who we consider to be our children.
Children, including these babies, were showered with the Christmas spirit by the ministry and its corporate partners.
Your parents, children may have abandoned you, but if you look around us, you see faces that are here to protect you. And I can give you my word that the Fijian government is committed to looking after the disadvantaged, children and the elderly all across Fiji.
They were hosted to lunch and given Christmas presents, the minister promising them it will be an annual event before the festive season. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Akosita is here for tonight's sports news. What do you have for us, Ako?
A very good evening, Jackie. Coming up, we speak to Australia's Fijian rugby wing, Henry Spate, and Fijian women draw tough 7th pool. Stay with us for that and more after the break.
It's now 6 o'clock right here on Big Breakfast, Today FM, today's hit music.
Hey, I'm Pauline.
And I'm Alan. Tune in to the Breakfast Show on Today FM with Pauline and I every weekday morning.
From 6 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
Today FM, today's hit music.
Good evening and welcome back to FBC Sports. Fiji-born rugby wing Henry Spate says he wants to play for Australia at the 2015 Rugby World Cup. After a successful debut for his adopted nation last month, Spate is now salivating for more. Josephine Avula caught up with Spate earlier today.
Winger presented his jersey by former Wallaby Marco Caputo.
Making it this far in his rugby career is a blessing according to the Tailevu lad.
It's an emotional experience, knowing the journey that's been involved and those who are involved, and it was a bit of a long time coming, but there's other people who go through their careers without even wearing the Wallabies jersey, let alone an international jersey. So it was a very it was a great experience.
With the Flying Fijians pool alongside the Wallabies in the 2015 Rugby World Cup, Spate is looking forward to donning the green and gold jersey and running riot against his home nation.
It'll be a special feeling to be able to face up against your home country and your fellow Fijian brothers, and might have to try not get tempted to sing the Fijian anthem before the Australian one. So no, it'll be a special feeling, I tell you that.
Spate says having Fijian Tevita Korean running alongside him in the Wallabies setup is comforting.
It's just a great feeling to, I guess, to be able to just speak in Fijian on the field. Spooks the opposition sometimes, but it works for us, so they encourage us to just do it. So.
He was the chief guest at the WOW's Kids Children Christmas party in Suva today, where former Queen Victoria School student was perfect present for the tiny tots. Josephine Avula, FBC Sports.
Funding is the only issue holding back Fiji's participation in the World League Hockey Round 2 competition next year. Only a fortnight after qualifying for the Olympic qualifying tournament at the National Hockey Centre in Suva, the national men's and women's side are in a race against time to secure funding. It's understood that each player will need to raise at least $3,000 each to cover costs for the trip. Fiji Hockey Federation board members are in a meeting with national coaches this evening to discuss the possibility of Fiji's participation. The Oceania Hockey Federation has given the local body until Friday to come up with a decision. The Fiji Men's World League Round 2 will be held in January in Singapore, whereas the women's competition will be held in March in India. Papua New Guinea is next in line to participate, should Fiji be unable to send a team to either events. Fijian right-hand bowler Viliame Ambaki is relishing the chance to compete in the Australian county cricket next year. The 22-year-old is one of 3 Fijians alongside Sekove Raboka and Viliame Manakitonga that have been included in the East Asia Pacific squad. The 14-man squad also includes players from Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu and will take on the best country players in Australia.
I feel great, to be honest, because this is my first time for me to be named in the EAP team. There's got to be a good competition in the country championship where we will go to in the next month. So it's gonna be a good competition. So I'm happy to be part of it as well. So.
The Australian County Cricket Championship will begin on January 5th in Victoria. Filipe Luis struck his first Chelsea goal with a brilliant free kick to help secure Capital One Cup semi-final place with a win 3-1 over Derby. The win keeps Chelsea's quest for quadruple alive as the side is still in all cup competitions. Here are the goals. And that was your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie for business.
The Nausori market is celebrating its 75th anniversary today. Vendors joined guests to celebrate as well as officially acknowledge the change that is going to take place soon. The Nausori Town Council has received a good number of expressions of interest in developing the existing market site with an investment of $30 million. Savaira Tamboa has more.
It was a bittersweet event for members of the Rewa Market Vendors Association. On one hand, they are celebrating 75 years of service to the public from this market, and on the other, they are preparing for the relocation to a new market.
The market site itself has many memories attached, and I take this opportunity to thank many vendors who have been trading here for many years and call this place a home. Your new market shall certainly come with better facilities, and I'm sure that you will all enjoy with pride.
Vendors who have sold their produce from the market reflected on their experiences.
We are thankful for the changes done in the market. Before we used to sell our produces under the tarpaulin, and now we are fortunate to have a new facility. This is a place where we find peace despite all the hardship we came across in terms of earning income.
The government of Japan has provided a civil engineer to assist with the new market project. The new market site is located at the old golf course and construction is expected to be completed next year. Savaira Tamboa, FBC News.
Fine weather was experienced over most places today. A trough of low pressure remains slow-moving over Tuvalu and extends eastwards over Tokelau. Meanwhile, another trough lies slow-moving over southern Cooks. And temperatures, another scorcher of the day today with maximum temperatures reaching the 30s. Mombasa topped once again with 33 degrees. Brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands have been forecast for tomorrow, elsewhere fine apart from afternoon or evening showers. And the forecast for the last working day of the week are some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands, elsewhere fine apart from afternoon or evening showers. And just a quick recap of our headlines for tonight. The Fijian Elections Office has handed over the final report on the election to the President as required under the 2013 Constitution. The Fiji Cooperative Dairy Limited held its annual general meeting today after a lapse of 4 years, and Fiji and New Zealand have re-established military ties after relations became strained in December 2006. Now to our poll question. This week we're asking, has Christmas been over-commercialized? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.ha or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's the bulletin for today. Join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.